Hi, I'm Nate at Practical Garden Ponds. In this video, we're going to assume that your pond is just about ready to go. The rock work is in place, the filtration and plumbing is all finished. You're anxious to put in water and fish. But I'm going to tell you what to do first, so let's get practical. If you simply fill your brand new virgin pond with water, you're going to find there's a lot of dirt and sediment in the rocks. That's going to make your pond murky and cloudy, and it may take a while for it to filter out. So we highly recommend the first thing you do is rinse or even power wash your brand new pond. Get rid of that rinsed water, and then either fill your pond or bring in a water truck to fill your pond, depending on the size and what your situation is. If you have a natural source for water like a well, you can skip this section. But if you're paying for your water, the chances are very high that your water has chlorine in it. Chlorine is put in the water by municipalities to keep things from living in your water. They don't want bacteria and things living in your drinking water. We want beneficial bacteria and fish to be able to live in our pond. So it's very, very important that we remove the chlorine before it kills things. This is a very simple way to do that. This sample is Helix dry dechlorinator. A little container like this will treat 42,000 gallons of water. 1 teaspoon will take the chlorine, remove the chlorine from 1,000 gallons of water. Very simple to use. Simply add it to the pond while you're filling it with chlorinated water. So after you've dechlorinated your water's safe, but it's still sterile. It doesn't have the natural beneficial bacteria in it to process the fish waste and make the water safe as animals live in it. And so we always add beneficial bacteria to every pond when it's new for startup. In fact, we continue to do that for maintenance. Beneficial bacteria in this form, a dry powdered form, it also comes in a liquid form, is freeze-dried, it's inactive. As soon as we add it to the water, it'll come alive and be active in the pond and colonize in the pond to where this bacteria will break down the fish waste and process waste into ammonia, ammonia into nitrite, nitrite into nitrate, making it safer for the fish. I'm using Helix beneficial bacteria. 1 teaspoon treats 1,000 gallons of water. We also carry the liquid version for those who prefer that. Maybe it's a little easier. Even though we rinsed the pond before we filled it, sometimes there's still a little bit of sediment. The pond is cloudy at first. The Helix Clarifying Mineral Supplement is what we use to clarify the water. It's got a coagulant in it, a binder, that will bind small particles together so that they are easier to filter out. And it also has other properties that help clarify, make your water sharp and clear. There's also some chemistry issues in your pond that are important for you to know. One is the pH. pH for koi and goldfish should be between 7.0 and no more than 9.0. The closer to 7.0, the better, but in that range, we try not to mess with the pH too much. First thing you have to do is know what your pH is, so you need an ordinary pH test kit. We carry meters in our truck. It's a little faster and easier, but simple pH test kits are fine for the homeowner with only one pond to test. If your pH is not between 7.0 and 9.0, we would recommend that you alter it. If it's acidic, it's pretty easy to bring the pH up with a commercially produced substance or even some things found in your home. If your pH is too high, that's a little more difficult, seemingly, because there's often buffers, natural buffers in the pond that keep pushing the pH back up even when you bring it down. But if you keep going, you'll be able to work at it. You may need to check into the alkalinity of the pond and do some other tests as well if you have problems. With your water properly dechlorinated and an acceptable pH, you're ready to put your fish in the pond. There are other things to test for as soon as you have fish introduced in the pond, like ammonia and nitrites. We don't want those poisons to kill the fish. In a brand new pond, it takes a while for the pond to cycle, so you need to add your fish slowly, a few at a time, and continue to use that beneficial bacteria to get the water to process so you don't have an ammonia or nitrite level. But those are things that you should also test once the fish are in the pond. So even after your water is safely dechlorinated and you have an acceptable pH, there's still going to be dissimilarities between the water your fish are coming from and the water they're going into in your new pond. It's very important to acclimate the fish to those changes. Changes in temperature, changes in chemistry can be stressful to the fish if they happen suddenly. We acclimate fish by keeping them in a small container for a very short period of time. In that small container, we dip out water they've come from and we add a little water that they're going into. Let it sit for a few minutes. Dip out more water that they're coming from. Add more water that they're going to. Wait a few minutes. We do that until we believe that small container has slowly and gently turned from the water they came from into the water they're going into. Once that's done, you're ready to release your fish into the pond. One of the real basic koi, the kahaku, very commonly kept, very popular, red and white. I know this has the word lemon in it. I forget the rest of the name of this fish at the moment, but one of my favorites personally. I just love that yellow and white fish, that particular kind of yellow. Very large utsuri here, black and red. There's nothing quite like a group of koi with great variety. Here's a second hiutsuri, the black and red. Here's another kahaku, being one of the main staples along with the sanke and the shoha. We got several of these, the red and whites. Here's a very large female ogon. These koi come from Laguna Hills Koi Farm in California. Before that, they were actually born and raised in Japan. These are truly Japanese koi. Another one I really like just because it's a little on the unusual side. It's not the typical orange, more of a bronzy orange color. I really think that's beautiful. Almost didn't choose this fish. It's kind of dark, not quite as colorful as some of the rest, but again, its uniqueness and how it'll look in the whole pack is kind of special to me. It's just a little different. And some really good smooth colors on this one. In our next video, we're going to talk about the simple maintenance of a practical dream pond, and you're going to see how all this hard work we've done leading up to this point is going to pay off, because the maintenance really is going to be easy. I hope you'll join us for that video.